Welcome to another My Outlander Purgatory recap. This week, we continue our Season 7 coverage with a recap of episode 703, Death Be Not Proud. Ready? Then pour yourself a wee dram, settle in, and let's do this. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Tracey.
I'm Carol.
And we are My
Outlander
Purgatory. How is everyone this evening?
What's happening?
What's happening? Carol, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Did you notice that I'm in a different location? I'm in an undisclosed location. Except I'm totally going to disclose it. It's Third Sister Jill's house. Third Sister Jill and her family are actually in stomping grounds that we would like to be in. They're in the UK, y'all.
Oh, so jealous.
I know. She's sending us pictures of Edinburgh and London and Ireland. And she's in all these places where, you know, if you followed us last year when we were in Scotland on Mop Goes to Scotland, that awesome trip, like places that we went when we were there, like the World's End. She's in the World's End where Jamie and Claire hung out and, you know, did whatever. And we were like jealous AF. But so Star Sister Jill lives near our parents and they're gone for a few weeks. So we're sort of like Carol and I sort of tag team staying at Jill's house so we could hang with my parents. So here we are. Here's her lovely backyard. Site of several mop videos, if you have been following us for a long time. And you remember there's a couple of videos filmed right in that very gazebo many, many years ago when the show was just a twinkle in Ron Moore's eye. And Sam Heughan was just the little baby actor. We were back there, you know, yammering about Jamie Fraser. So
that was when Sam Heughan was doing the Princess for Christmas on Hallmark.
And Katrina was walking the runway with her Zoolander look, I'm sure. So you guys, you have been doing your homework, which is really great. You have been liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel because our numbers are going up.
Thank you.
We love you for it. We love you, Carol. We love you.
Well, I love it.
But please continue to do so. Like us, subscribe us. And also like us on TikTok because, you know, we're trying hard. We're pushing out content there. We really are. We are doing our best to get stuff up there. And the more likes we get on these platforms, the more stuff we can do for you. And the easier it is to like make stuff happen. So get on it.
Yeet.
Carol, what are you drinking? I have a feeling I know the answer to this.
You don't, girl.
Oh,
I'm having a little Two Chicks. This is my new favorite drink. Tequila lemon lime cocktail. It's like a little tiny sparkling citrus margarita. It's lovely. And I do like to have it over ice because when I have it straight sometimes.
Well, I would want to drink a margarita over ice. Like I don't think I would want that straight.
It's just a little, it's not strong. It's just, I don't know. I like to chill it down a little bit. Tracey, and yourself?
Well, I'm drinking this Chardonnay, the barefoot Chardonnay that was left in the refrigerator by Third Sister Jill, who knew we were coming to hang out with my parents and stocked the fridge well, shall we say.
She did.
So Carol actually was here till yesterday, and then she left, and I came on Tuesday, and I'm staying till tomorrow. But yes, Third Sister Jill, you know, knows us well, had our beverages ready for us, and it was all good. I just thought that Carol might not be drinking because we were both pre-gaming a little bit.
Well, at that point, I was having a little Casamigos. Guys, anybody who's into the margarita, but like if the heavy duty margarita bothers your head at 3 a.m., it's the sugar. So I order a skinny margarita, and they just don't use as much as of the what, Tracey?
We've discussed this already.
Oh, sorry. I don't remember that.
I think we have. I mean, I think this is the summer of the margarita. Let's just put it that way, because.
So, bottom line, yes, I had a few skinny margaritas when I was out with our cousin Colleen and our friend Beth. Love you guys. They're both Outlander fans.
And I had a few Chardonnays when I was out with Patsy and Randy, who don't ever watch these and pretty much don't know what we're doing.
If they knew, it would be bad.
Okay. So with that in mind, anything else? Any Outlander news this week other than the like beyond amazing comments that we're getting on all the social media platforms?
It's just
Guys,
awesome.
Like, honest to God, if you have not, I mean, obviously you need to go on YouTube and like and subscribe, but like really go through those comments on our videos. Like, people have the best things to say. They get into these little conversations, as we've talked about. They bring up points of view that we're like, oh yeah, we didn't think about that. Or that's really interesting. Or, I don't know that I agree with that, but I see where you're coming from with that. It's really good. And again, it's really respectful. And we are like, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being really respectful. If you are not being kind and saying things in mean ways, please don't. But that really does not happen. Yes, I know that my microphone did not work very well last week. And props to you guys for letting me know in kind ways. And we're working on that. And so kudos to you for just like all the great things that you guys are saying about each episode.
We do the best we can.
We do the best we can.
We don't have a background. We don't have a background in video production. So
you guys, despite these amazing filters, we're old ladies and we don't know shit about doing this. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So without further ado, let's get going here. Let us get going on episode 703, entitled "The Death Be Not Proud." The writer here is Tyler English Beckwith. I think this might be a new writer. That does not sound familiar to me. And the director is Jackie Gould.
Any relation to Elliot?
I don't know. It's a good call. I'm not sure. Not that I know of. Maybe, wasn't Elliot married to Barbara Streisand at one point? People who need people. I can't belt that shit. No. I also think you started it really, really high, but maybe not. Okay. We normally say like the overall impressions of the episodes at the end when we're done. I feel like this episode, I've watched it twice, and I feel like the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, it's clearly a bridge to like from the ridge. We're leaving the ridge for a little bit. Will we see it again? Will we not see it again? We don't really know, but it's clearly a bridge to like the next place or experience we're gonna have. Then I watched it again, and I feel like once I got that sort of like big picture out of the way, I was able to notice a lot of really small details that were interesting and lovely. I don't think you watched it twice, Carol, but maybe you noticed some of the details that we'll talk about. Do you have any thoughts like overall?
Yes, I will say that I have some stuff written down. This episode was like dancing around in the books. Loved it. I loved it. I loved every second of this episode. So many awesome lines. And it was like Shannon's, Mop Shannon, our friend Shannon, her comfy old chair comment about the TV, like as far as the TV series of the TV series. She used to say, like, you would pick up a Diana Gabaldon book and it was like your comfy old chair, like, you know, not book 1, but like by the time you're at like book 7, book 6, book 7, it just envelops you in comfort. And I also have that the series has become a little bittersweet. Gone is not dead is kind of the recurring theme that I am seeing, especially in this episode. And as far as time travel, you know, it's really weird when you watch these and you read the books, but then you watch these and you're like, is it like spiritual world? Is it 200 years ahead? Is it 200 years behind? You start believing like this time travel stuff and like wondering what the heck's happening. So, and I know it's a comment that we'll discuss later, but I will say, I'm sure in everybody's personal life, you have something. For me personally, I really can relate to wondering if I'm enough. And that was really for this episode was, you know, just absolutely riveting of a comment. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we start off with a cold open, which is pretty much, I think at this point, like every episode so far is cold open before the starting. So maybe that's where we're going, like structurally. But this cold open was kind of like an Easter egg to me. Like it felt more like an Easter egg than cold open because we see this gorgeous shot of a van driving across the Scottish field, and you see like the mountains and the woods and then a town and water like way in the background. And it was just gorgeous. And it looks like a delivery van of some sort. Also, and I'll be referencing this later on too, it's also like that shot in 7 where you see a delivery van on a long winding road, like with a field there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I saw that movie
7?
once, like 5 million years ago.
Oh my God. Well, I will be saying what's in the box about 1 million times.
What's in the box?
But anyway, so it pulls up to the house. It pulls up to a house. We don't know what house. And it leaves off a box. It's like a big wooden box. And the box says Jeremiah Alexander Ian Fraser Mackenzie on it. And that's it. And then we go to our starting. We go to our title music or whatever. Yeah, it was really short and it felt like an Easter egg. Like that would be the Easter egg. But it was not.
And let me ask you a question. First of all, love the box. Was like, oh my God, I would just want to dive in right now. Second of all, have you watched the starting? Have you watched the opening song?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I haven't. Like, was it the same this week that it's been since this season started?
Do you mean the music or the images?
Not the music, because I've been listening to Sinead the whole time, but like, I really guess I haven't really paid much attention to the starting. I'm always like, you know, trying to get to, but there's a flag. There's the, I have the pretty cool original flag in the starting is very, very cool.
I feel like it's been the same. And I feel like we're only 3 episodes in of 8, but we've already gotten through a lot of the images that are in it. Like, you know, we have like the one of Lord John giving the jewel. Cause I like sort of going through each week and being like, okay, that one's been done.
Yeah.
That one's been done. That one's been done.
Yeah.
So I know that there's the Lord John Jamie, like Lord John gives Jamie the gem, like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even remember.
I have not seen that flag before. You know, you're used to seeing the colonial, like the Betsy Ross flag with the stars, you know, in a round.
Circle, yeah.
And this was cool. I also have the Easter egg. I don't know. You mentioned the Easter egg, but I don't want to jump ahead.
Well, no, I mean, that's where we go next anyway. Like the real Easter egg. It was a modern day living room.
Yeah,
and
this is what I was going to say.
To an old fashioned rotary phone and a little boy who looks like Jemmy from the back, and he's dressed in a little sweater, and he answers the phone, and that's it. And this is one of those examples of an Easter egg where you're just like, even if you did read the book, you're just like, don't quite know where we're going with this, but okie dokie, we're just along for the ride.
So cute.
It was very cute, and I will say that it was pretty much, I mean, I think it was Jemmy. Okay, and like when we get to where we're going with this, it becomes even clearer that it's Jemmy. And I do think that this may be the last time that we see that little actor that plays Wee Jem, because from what I heard, and it would make sense that that character is going to age just a bit. That we're going to recast him for a little boy who's a little older and, you know, maybe a little like more of an actor-y kind of boy.
Yeah.
But like slow golf clap for that little boy because he's just cute as a bug's ear.
And there were some comments about that too in the comments, and I won't even get into it, but there were some comments about the age. So I'm very interested to see what happens going forward.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, you know, book readers know that he does get, I mean, you know, I don't think it's a spoiler to say Bree and Roger are not there for like 2 months and then they go back or whatever, anything like that. Like, no, they're, you know, this is where they're going to live now. So, you know, the kids are going to get older. So there you go. The only thing I had to say about the Easter egg is that creepy version of the theme music is just creepy now. In the first episode, I thought it was cool because it was like so foreboding and like kind of like scary. And now it's just weird. It's weird to have this like kind of fun, not even fun, just kind of modern day, like I'm little boy answering the phone, nothing dangerous about that. And then you hear Sinead O'Connor being like,
I don't mind it. I think it's just supposed to be it's just so neat as far as the juxtaposition of the modern day or the, you know, what are we in right now time period versus the 18th century. I think it's supposed to be that whisper, but it's the Sinead O'Connor whisper. So, you know, I think that's why they brought her in too. I definitely think it's for a purpose.
And I like her in the title. It's just weird to me.
I am sorry. All I keep seeing is Prince. All I keep saying is nothing compares to you. And Sinead and her shaved head.
Fight the real enemy.
That's what and that's terrible because that just shows I have not been keeping up with her over the years. You know, I have not. There's a lot of people out there who are her big fans and have followed her music. So I don't know. I am so intrigued by the fact that she's Irish. Like, I love it. They brought her in and she's got that, not a thick Irish accent, but she's got an Irish accent. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Okay. So we start off and we're back to the house where the package was dropped off, where the box was dropped off. And there's kids playing out front or back or whatever. And it's Jem, who you recognize from the phone wearing his little sweater, and a couple of girls. And you soon learn that they must be Fiona's girls. And it's true. This house, I think this house is Richard Rankin's now. It's Roger's old house, right? Where
the manse. It's the manse.
It's the manse. Exactly. It's the manse. So, and I didn't recognize that like at the starting when they dropped off the box there. So, but Fiona, if you recall from season whatever 4 when he went back,
oh Lord,
he basically was like, here you go, Fiona, here's the house. Here, you can have this house, whatever. Anyway, they are at Fiona's house. Roger and Bree are there. And Fiona lives there now, and she's got the box. She's like, you know, here you go. This was in a bank vault for 200 years. And, you know, guessing it's yours because it's got Jeremiah's name on it.
What did you think about that?
I have a lot of things to say about that.
And it is from the book. It is from the book, the 200 years. But like what? But like what I can't find certain things that I like did like 10 years ago. And this has been sitting there for 200 years. Like,
okay. Should we get into this now? So, okay. There a lot of this is from the book, you guys, except it's not like it's all from the book in a big sense, but but they change a lot of the details that may or may not be important to you or to me. For example, obviously we know from the end that Roger and Brianna are going to buy Lallybroch, right? So
we think so.
And I'm just gonna go there with this because we haven't really.
She's going.
I'm going. I mean, like whatever. They open the box. There's a whatever. We'll get to that. So in the books, they go back. They have the big scene that we saw last week with Disney and a mouse named Michael and cry, and there they go. They're gone. And that's like it's towards the end of the book, but there's maybe another 75 pages to go. I don't know. There's all the Donner stuff, like whatever. I forget. No, the Claire kidnapping is all, or the Claire jailing is all before that. But anyway, there's more stuff to go. There's the whole Donner stuff and whatever, and there's whatever. The very end of the book, you guys. The very end of the book. In fact, I think it's an epilogue. You haven't seen Roger and Bree. You don't know what happened to them. The very end of the book, what do you see? Roger and Bree and the kids are at Lallybroch. They have purchased Lallybroch. They're like busy fixing it up. Roger comes home, like Bree's like with the contractor, and they're like doing this and that, and oh, this beam's rotted. Oh, this whatever. Oh, Jem and Mandy are fighting upstairs. Whatever. Roger comes home. I feel like he was like going through more of like the Reverend stuff, or like the Reverend stuff's in storage, or I don't know, whatever. But he's basically got this box that I think was with the Reverend stuff, but that came from a bank somewhere. So it was just way more believable. Like it wasn't like, the 7 delivery guy like drove it up to the, some random house, Fiona's house, and left it off. It was just mixed in all this other weird shit. Roger's like, I don't even know what it is, but it's got Jeremiah's name on it. That's kind of weird. And they're like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Open it up. And they open it up, and like Bree pretty much bursts into tears. And because they see what's inside. And guess what, you guys? Like their focus is not on like, oh, is this the musket ball? Huh. It's not weird. No, it's a pile of letters from frickin' Jamie and Claire that are in the box. And it is just such an emotional scene where they open the first letter and like Bree's just crying silently, and it says like, we are alive and well. And that's pretty much how the book ends. That's pretty much the ending of the book. And in this case, again, the box is just sort of left randomly at Fiona's house. Fiona is like, here you go. Oh, here, let me go out and check on the kids so you guys can open that in private. And they open the box. I'll get to that. They open the box. I had to ask myself, like, did Bree and Roger know that Jamie and Claire in the show were going to write these letters? Because there was like no surprise. Is it just me? Am I making this up? Is this all in my head? I felt like they opened the box, and the first thing Roger pulls out is this musket ball, which is, if you didn't figure it out, it's the gold musket ball, the musket ball that Jamie was making out of gold. It's one of those. And like Bree's like, oh, letters, like it's her pen pal from 3rd grade that wrote her. And I mean, like later on, I guess there was a little emotion, but like, I don't know. I found for me, it fell really, really flat, and really like it took me all the way back to like season 3 when Claire had the pictures of Bree, and Jamie was like, "Oh, let me see. Oh, this is great. Okay, I have a son named William. Like, I don't care about this. Whatever.
And he's great.
You know?
And he's great.
It was it was super. The emotional punch was not there for me.
The only thing I can say about that is that you have to remember that they just got back. I mean, I don't know how long it's been since they, came through the stones and were able to get themselves very, very far and to Scotland with nothing, no money, with whatever.
Well, I mean, they might that now. Granted, they went through in America. They called Joe Abernathy.
That is
whatever.
Yeah, that is what I have told myself, is that they called Joe Abernathy. That's what I've told myself. You are just suspending disbelief.
Months. They were in the U.S. for months to get me into surgery. So,
but they were not there for 200 years. So the bottom line is, to them, it's very fresh. Jamie and Claire in the 18th century is very, very fresh. So I mean, yes, I agree with you. Like, what? Like, this isn't like a pizza that was just delivered from down the street. This was letters from your fam. But at the same time, I just kept telling myself, well, it hasn't been that long, and they're not shocked because they kind of not expected it, but it's not shocking to them that they would do this. Maybe they did talk about it. Maybe they said, all right, listen, if we can do this, we're going to do this. So I didn't care. As cool as I think it is, loved it in the books, I am more concerned with Jamie and Claire not knowing, if they're okay, not knowing if they got there. There's so many parallels with death in this, that you don't know if your loved one is okay. You don't know where your loved one is. You don't know. It's the unknown. So I really definitely, I don't know. I liked it. I loved it. I think it's so cool that they're speaking to them from 200 years ago. And it's just so par for the course that they're not like, wowed or shocked, whatever.
Yeah, but
I don't think anything has ever shocked Bree in this TV Bree in her whole entire life. So, it
was just like, it was enough. It was like, there was so little emotion that it really was like, did Bree know that this was going to happen? Like, did Bree know that they were writing these, did they plan to write these letters? Were they like, all right, we'll try to get you something, like,
right.
I don't know. I don't know. But it was really, for me, it was the emotion, it was lacking emotionally. I hate to be like, the book was better. But in this case, I felt the book was better. The book was more emotional for me.
I could not think about any of that because I was my OCD was on overdrive over the fact that they just picked up a letter. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, no. Go through, see what the dates are, like read them in order. I was really bothered by that. They just picked up the top letter and started reading it. I was like,
I mean, I guess like, see, that's another thing. Like, did they know? Were they like, was Jamie like, I'll put them in order. So like, go to the top right one first. Because
I'm sure it's going to be there still at the top right after 200 years.
I just like, it was like she knew that they were going to write these letters. She knew, and she didn't. And like, I mean, again, I get your point. Like, your point is that it's worse for Jamie and Claire because they will never know. They will never
know.
Roger and Bree would never know either, except for the letters. But the fact is like, whether they knew or they didn't know, like, it's Bree says it. All right. One of them says it, like, 200 years ago, it was 200 years ago. Whether it did happen or it didn't happen, they're all gone now.
Right.
Right. So there's that certainty, even though they don't know that. For Jamie and Claire, it's that, like, did they make it back? If they did, what are they doing now? If they did, like, are they okay?
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Which was why Claire was so like messed up in the head over the whole thing. That was a portion of why. Not only did she miss her daughter, not only did she miss her grandson, and the new baby and Roger, but she had no idea. She had no way of knowing, and she had to come to terms with that.
Right. Now I get it. I just, for me, it was really lacking, and it made me very sad. I wrote a lot of stuff in capital letters in my notes. Yeah, Bree's like, like Bree sees the letters, she's like, wonder what that. I mean, you don't know Jamie's handwriting at this point, or Claire's, or whoever's it is. She has to know. She has to know. And the minute you see those, I mean, again, I get your point, but like, she's never going to see her mother again either. That's in her mind,
right?
So all of a sudden, inside this box is her parents talking to her from beyond the grave.
But she's not thinking about it beyond the grave because they haven't been here that long. It hasn't been 200 years since they've seen them. So
it hasn't been 200 years since Claire and Jamie have seen them.
True.
I mean, I get your point that it's a different perspective.
She just left them.
But both of them are like, I'm never going to see the other again. Despite the fact that, I mean, they just left Claire and Jamie as well. Both of them are like, I'm never going to see them again.
Which is clearly
Roger
why
and Bree have the added bonus of all of a sudden we do have them again via these letters.
Right, which is clearly why we will get into it more, but Jamie is having the dreams he's having because that's a little bonus for the rest of us.
Right. All right. We won't belabor that, but
we already did.
We already did. Well, I'm sorry. That was the thing of this episode that, like, more than anything for me, the what's in the box moment, like as I called it. It was very disappointing for me. There you go. I just have to. Can we talk for 2 seconds about Bree's hair?
Oh, I don't think I noticed.
It's
yeah. It's in a. I liked it.
Yeah, but like, isn't it from 1960? Like, is that really? I don't remember. I do know that she has a sweater that's like sort of a teal color, and I have the same sweater in charcoal gray. Just saying. Don't think I've ever worn it in a video. Not sure.
Did you buy it in like Target? They might have bought this from Target too.
I think I did. I don't know that there was Target back because this is like 1977-ish.
That's the point, is that there clearly was not. Right. However, if you're the costume person, you're going to buy something that appears as if it was in that time.
Right. The only other thing that I have to say, like, and again, this is like sort of a difference between the show and the book, and like, they didn't really explain it. And I mean, I guess you could sort of make an argument for it, but like, why were they in Scotland in the first place? In the book, it makes sense because I feel like I could be wrong about this. I should really check it, but I feel like they buy Lallybroch at auction. They hear that, or they read or something that it's being auctioned, but I don't know that they're in Scotland. I feel like they do that in the US and then they move to Scotland. Here, I guess they just like went back to say hi to Fiona, or so that Roger could like pick up his shit. And because they're like, keep talking about like, well, we're going back to Boston. We're going back to Boston. We're going back to Boston. And to your point, I mean, I think Bree probably has a lot of money stashed away from her parents. So I don't think they're hurting for money. I think she's like got, a bank account somewhere.
Unless her father left everything to her, her mother is not dead. So if her father left everything to her mother and her mother to then be left onto her, mother's not dead.
I think Claire made all the arrangements. She probably like sold the house to Bree and whatever. Yeah, like Bree, I think can get out some money, but it was just like kind of like. Did you guys know that third sister Jill has 2 dogs? Happy.
That are clearly coming to say hello.
I know. Pay them no mind. They'd like to comment on all of the Rollo stuff. What? Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Oh, what do they want? Are they okay?
Yeah, they're fine. I don't know. I think they're seeing some ghosts. So yeah, I kept being like, why are they in Scotland exactly? Don't know. But so yeah, Bree's hair. I don't know. I just
I thought it was cute.
It didn't feel like, I don't know. I guess it was 70s. I guess. I don't know. Maybe a little conservative. Maybe that was it. I don't know. It felt like a weird era to me. Because it's like, like this, but then poofy up.
You are really, really looking at detailed information this week.
I told you that second viewing. Got a lot of these little things here.
Right.
All right.
I think that some of it is just stuff I just don't care. I mean, not that I don't care. It's funny when we crack up over the wigs and stuff, but I don't know. I actually liked her hair this week.
And Claire's hair was fine. I just tried not to think about it.
Oh, you mean that the 20 inches of growth this week?
Yeah. Yes. Considering especially that it was like the next second that we saw them.
Yes.
Like, from last week.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Like it was a little, just not to belabor the point, but like, I would have liked that big reveal of the letters, like at the very end. I do think it works better in the book when it's at the very end, because it just like, it packs a punch that it didn't necessarily as they were cutting back and forth between the stuff in the big house and the letters, but it is what it is. It's all good. All right. So we're back to Jamie and Claire. We're back right where we left off. You sort of see the explosion from their point of view, that Donner lights a match and Clara's like, but like, and that's where people start dropping like flies, because the ether is like all over the place, and like Donner's lackey is like boom, and everyone's like, ugh. And then Donner lights a match and Claire's like, no, and Donner's like, boom, and the match, boom. Jamie gets everyone out, and the house blows Mission Impossible style. And Jamie and Claire are like John McCain. Am I the only one that like sometimes like, is it John McClane or John McCain? John McClane is Die Hard. John McCain is government. Okay. McClane. Am I right about that?
I don't even know.
It's just like the big
John McCain is dead and was a POW, and yeah.
And
I did make a note about this. I said I love the typical, I don't know why typical isn't good, but the Jamie and Claire running we've seen before. Like, it just reminded me of the two of them running out the window, jumping out the window from, where was that? What castle was that?
It was a Fort William?
Maybe. And they jumped out the window onto the haystacks or the whatever.
Yeah, it was I'll kindly thank you to take my hands off my wife.
It reminded me of that, and I loved it. I just loved that, like, this thing is happening and their house is about to burn down, and the two of them are like, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a little wee gifty to the fans. I thought it was kind of neat.
The fans of Die Hard, yeah. It's fine. It was fun. It was very fun. Whatever. Now let's talk about this, because a couple people brought up this in the comments in YouTube, I think, and it's kind of true. Would the ether really cause an explosion like that? I don't think
my science degree is still in the mail. I have no idea. It was believable to me because
it's flammable, but it's flammable in the way that when you have like gasoline on the floor, like, and you light a match and the fire just sort of goes all over the gasoline like that. It doesn't like blow up half the house. I mean, that was just like seriously like for effect. But I think that the end result is still the same. The house burns to the ground, but it's not because it explodes like, the Nagasaki building.
Right.
But that firefighting back in the day just was really sucky. Like, it was really difficult to do it because you had to be like, here's some water, throw it on the house.
Okay. So I had that written down, that like Jamie threw the water and it didn't even hit the window. Like they had their buckets and they were like, okay. And they were doing their whole assembly line. But like he was like, and it didn't even hit the fire. Like
well,
I was
I'm
like,
gonna forgive Jamie. He's been through a lot tonight, you know. I'm gonna forgive him if he can't quite hit the target and win the stuffed doll for Claire. Yeah, and it was really, really poignant, and it was really just like sad moment when he was finally this is the kind of detail that I've noticed in this second viewing. How like you see the fire going and you see all of these items burning and they all have meaning in some way. And, Jamie sees something that's burning. That's, I don't know. I don't remember. Claire's thinking about like her, the medical guy, like the box that he had, like that original box with all the like medical junk from like an earlier doctor, whatever, that Jamie bought her or whatever, burning. And like all these important things, like their things, their stuff that means a lot to them,
right,
burning.
Right.
And that's when Jamie is finally like, enough. This is not happening.
Shut up.
Yeah. And so he's just like, no, there's just no point. I will say that we're cutting back and forth between watching this happen and Claire and Roger and Bree reading about it, that Jamie is writing about it. And there is a little emotion there, but whatever. It's too little too late, Bree. Too little too late for Tracey.
That scene with Bree and Roger kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Why?
Like they were reading and everything was great, and all of a sudden it was like Mama and Jamie lost their house and all their belongings, but we changed history.
Oh, well, yeah. All right. Well, we'll get to that. Like, so, and Claire says that they've outwitted the obituary. And remember that they were supposed to die in a fire.
I know what's going on here. I know what's going on here. I just found it kind of strange that Bree didn't show a whole lot of, oh my God, my parents' house emotion. It was more like, we changed history.
So, okay. Yes. I wrote a lot about this too. So Roger's in hysterics because he's like, oh my God, you caused it because you invented matches. And that's in the book too, actually.
Yeah,
like,
I felt bad for her. I was like, all right, matches. Roger, we get it. She made the matches. Leave her alone. She didn't even care. I was like, why are you drilling this?
Here's what I don't get. Here's what I don't get.
Okay, here's
like, I didn't get it in the books, and I don't really get it now. Like, okay, they changed history and saved Jamie and Claire. I don't know how it works. I'm reading what I wrote. Not sure how that works. Wasn't that the fire that they supposedly died in? Are we looking at it from 2 points of view? Claire from newspapers suck.
Yes.
And Bree from we saved the day.
Yes.
Is Roger saying that if Bree hadn't invented matches, that there never would have been a fire? Or it would have been later when the newspaper said it would be? I'm not sure I get the logic, but it's confusing in the books too.
That's one of those things that I'm just like, next.
It is. I mean, Diana has always said, like, first one to tell you, not good with dates, not good with continuity. Like, Diana Gabaldon is many things. She's never going to be a script supervisor, which is the people who like make sure that
attention and detail. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Never, not the job for Dr. Di. No.
I had somebody approach me about doing that once, and I was like, do you know me? Like, are you kidding me? I have zero attention to detail.
I think I'd be really good at that job, actually.
You would be fantastic. I would not.
Yeah, I think I'd be really good at that job. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys can spell it out for us in the comments, that like in really clear, nice ways that don't yell at us and are easy to understand, have at it.
Nice.
Because like Bree, because like, okay, so had Bree not invented matches, wouldn't Donner have just like Like, how did they light candles before matches?
Exactly. My man would have taken a candle and thrown it. Come on now. This is like,
I mean,
dumb.
yeah, he would have found some other way to be like,
yeah,
what's going on? And not for nothing, but like, there were many a lit flame around when Claire was busy going with the
right.
in last season, and like nothing blew up then.
And not only that, but yeah, and Jamie and Claire used to be like, you know, in book 2, in season 2, we're trying to change history. We can't change history. Didn't we learn they can't change history? And now Bree and Roger and the match and whatever, people just keep moving.
I just don't get it. I don't understand. So you guys explain it to us, but like, don't yell at us. So.
Yeah, like we get it. Like we're not dumb. I know sometimes I act dumb, but we're not dumb.
We just are a little confused where this is like
we can figure it out.
Okay.
You guys can figure it out.
Yeah, okay. So all right, so the next scene we have Jamie and Claire and Ian sifting through the rubble. And we see all the things they're finding. Claire finds her medical book, like the one she was writing. That is like okay. Jamie finds his trunk with his kilt. He also finds the gold bar.
Oh, but he found his full regalia. He found his everything.
I know.
I was like, yes, it survived.
I know, it did survive. And they're both having like crises of faith here.
Awful.
Like Jamie is like, Claire, why do you always go, like if someone is dying, you go to them. You're not going to be able to change what's happening. But you go to them even though you know it's a lost cause. Why? So, I mean, clearly this is a man who's grasping for like a reason to go on, a reason to keep going. And he sees that Claire does do that even when things are hopeless. And it's sad. It's really sad to see the big house and all of the work they did and all the dreams they had. And it's just like, thoughts?
Yes, agreed. I'm reading my notes, and sometimes you guys, you watch this and you take these notes and you're like, it's so powerful. And you're like, oh, and this and that. And then we talk about it and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to read any of that.
Okay. So the next we see that Ian is all like, Uncle, look, here I saved one more thing. Oh, there's John Shane. It's this picture of Willie. Remember him?
My God. Hello.
And Ian is like, yeah, this picture, I figured you'd want it.
Yeah, Uncle. I have a secret. I have a secret, Uncle.
So Ian gets it. He's pretty much gotten it. So put him
Jamie's
on
like, what?
So add him to Lord John's, or keep him on Lord John's 5 people who know. It's just gone up to 6 people.
Exactly.
And he knows what's, and he says he'll never tell. I can't do that accent. My God, I'm so bad at it. He'll never tell. How did you say that?
I always go up. I always end on an up note, but that's very Glasgow and Paisley, and I'll never know. I don't know. That I can't. Certain things I can't.
I have a question, and it's kind of sad, and I feel like this would be helpful for Ian's character.
Okay.
And I hate to say in the books, but I'm gonna. In the books, Ian is always hanging out with his Cherokee friends. Like he's always got like the Indians around to hang out.
Are they? What? Where are they?
And like, I think we told you guys last week that in the books, Ian is the one that lights the match. Not Donner, because Donner's done. I think Jamie kills Donner, actually. In fact, I know he does because I read this part in the books. Oh, by the way, we're officially done A Breath of Snow and Ashes. If I was home, I would take the book and toss it away and put the new book down, which I will do next week. But that's it. We're done. We're done. We are into book 7.
I am a kid with a secret. I can't even tell you all my friends. I'm like, we're almost there. We're almost there where I can start saying things.
I know. But yeah, Ian and I went back because again, we told you this last week that like I don't remember things from like the name of the book, Echo and the Bone. I don't remember things from Echo and the Bone the way I do with the other books, or the rest, like Echo and the Bone and Moby and Bees. I'm not going to remember things. I've only read the books once, and it's been a while. The
Echo
other ones
and the Bone
I
could reread. Times. I should just start rereading it right now because I love Echo and the Bone.
As I'm watching the show, I'm rereading those parts in Echo and the Bone because I need to, because I don't remember. I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, this is so stupid. And then realize that like, oh no, this is from the book. So like, I can't, whatever.
Right.
But in the book, yeah, like, so with the Donner stuff, Ian and his Cherokee friends all come in to save the day and help out things. So like, he's got his backup. He's got his wingman, and he just doesn't seem to have them here. And it makes Ian like sort of lonelier and a little sadder. Like, is it just me saying that, or do you think the same thing?
No, 1,000%. Because I saw him the other day when I was watching with his little tattooed little dots and his hair. And this happened last week too, where I was like, he's in town. He's in a city. Like, what would this have been like? Was this completely normal? There were just so many, like, for lack of a better term, white guys out there with their little dots in their hair, like just cruising around. Or like, I saw that and I was like, people would have turned around and been like, the hell? So now he's, like you said, he's by himself and he's with Jamie, but he sort of does seem to disappear because he was always in the books disappearing into the woods, with his friends and doing whatever. And he would disappear for 2 weeks and then just show up and they'd be like, yeah, that's Ian.
Yeah. I mean, in the show, he seems to have fully assimilated back into the Fraser's Ridge, Scottish ways, but he's not. And that's, right. And, if he was really fully assimilated, he would like, grow his hair out or wear kilts or whatever.
Right. But he's just sort of like,
it would be interesting and probably more realistic to see him with his Cherokee friends, because he is still in those two worlds. He's still straddling those two worlds, but you don't really get that sense in the show.
Right.
And I feel like his character would be better served for maybe getting a scene with him in, still seeing the other side of him.
Right.
It's just me.
Right.
Okay. So we see Lizzie and one of the twins. I don't remember which one.
Am I the only one, you guys, who just laughs every time they show up? I'm like, when I was reading this in the books, I would be like, girl, she kind of got a nice situation going on there.
Yeah, the twins at the end were those hilarious. I mean, I'll comment on it now, where like the one had to be with the baby, like off in the distance.
Right.
Even when like all of them are talking over here, he still has to stay because maybe he has COVID or something, so he has to stay over there.
They're the same dude.
Okay. So they bring Claire stuff, which is like very nice. And it looks like the barn didn't burn down, so that's good. And they haven't been able to find Wead, so the wee Cheaty.
Oh, sad.
Lost.
Right.
So, okay. So Archbug shows up, Nat. This is good. Okay. This is a great scene. So Archbug shows up, and you guys who are non-book readers may have been like, in your travels of comments and whatever, been hearing about the French gold. French gold. They're going to do the French gold. I don't know how they're going to do the French gold. No. We're going there with the French gold. The French gold goes this way. The French gold goes that way. So this scene with Arch and Jamie and Ian, I guess, is sort of in it preferably, explains the French gold to you. And I thought they did a pretty good job of it, that there was French gold from France, meant to further the Stuarts, their cause. And when it didn't quite work out that it went that way, it got divvied up into 3 parts. One for Jocasta and Hector, one part to Dougal, and one part to Arch, who was standing in for the Grants. Like he was the Grants. It's tackman. He was saying tackman, meaning like head of the horses, I think. Head of like that, whatever. But I thought he was saying taxman.
Oh,
so
no.
I was like, okay.
Oh, no, I did too. Yes. I thought so too. Right.
No, I looked it up and it's TACH man.
Okay.
But I thought it was taxman. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. He'd be taking the French gold back to the Duncans for like, then put on his little like accountant hat and whatever. So he's all pissy at Jocasta and Hector. But then you notice how he like blows over Dougal. He's like, well, I don't know what Dougal did with his part. But wrote
it the F down.
But
I literally the first thing I have is the Mr. Bug story is weird. They just blow off wherever Dougal's gold ended up. That's the first thing I said. Oh, I was like, oh, but that's fine. You are skulking around this place. Your wife's been hiding it. But Dougal, whatever Dougal did. Like, what?
I know.
So
I was the same way. I was like, okay, Dougal, I don't know what he did with that, but that bitch Jocasta built a house. It's like misogyny at its finest, but okay, whatever. Thanks. Okay, sure, Archbug. Sure.
Well, the only thing I could say of that is that, like men were so much more respected than women at this time frame. And I'm just going to say that he's assuming probably that Dougal did the right thing. Dougal was, one of the head of the clan. And
he probably used it for the Mackenzies.
Right. But Jocasta used it for her own gain.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. And I guess the Duncan money, was it the Duncan money? No, the Grant money. I'm sorry. The Grant money, went to the clans or whatever. So yes. Good point. He probably thought Dougal is a fine, upstanding young man. He used it for the benefit of the Mackenzies. And I'm sure Dougal did that because he is just awesome and no badness in him at all. So basically Arch figured out that the gold was, and that was a great scene right from the books. Hector was such a douchebag that he wouldn't let the gold go even when he was dead. So it's in the crypt and Arch took it bit by bit.
Okay. I need to talk about that little situation. Mm-hmm. Who put it in the grave with Hector?
That's a good question, and I don't remember from the books. I'm sure somebody will, but this is all from the book. This is straight from the book.
I know, which is why I really need to pull out the book and start and look at it. But I'm like, wait a minute, someone buried that gold. Was Jocasta okay, we're going to put it down there with Hector, but I can go back and get it anytime I want. And then I'm like, ew. Jocasta's not going to want to, have somebody dig up the grave and get it out. It just made no sense to me. Someone, if that was the point, someone put that gold into the grave, the coffin, or the grave with Hector.
Maybe it was Jocasta. Remember, I feel there was a whole big rigmarole with this thing, with the French gold and the coffin, and I feel Stephen Bonnet was involved in some way too. Maybe he found out about it, and they were trying to get it, and so a whole bunch of things with Jocasta, her blindness, and I don't know. It's all tied up.
Yeah,
it's all tied up, but they left all that out. But yeah, Arch was taking bit by bit the French gold that Hector had. So Jamie is you know what, you're free. I guess I don't know if the bugs were indentured to Jamie. I don't know how that works because they were both prisoners in Ardmere, but whatever. But Jamie's you're free, just get out of here. Here's this gold bar. You're done. Bye.
Right.
Archbug was great. I mean, we'll get into this, but I feel like the show, And I get it. There's so much story to tell on the show. So it's really hard. It was really hard. It was understandable that they were not able to feature the bugs more, but they really did this storyline a disservice by not giving us at least like helping us get to know the bugs a little bit more, because it's kind of like these super minor characters are now being thrust upon you in a big role, and you're just like, why should I care about them?
Right.
And they're much more important, like, characters in the books, like wrapped into the everyday lives of the Frasers.
Right.
And at this point, we know them a lot more than we do here. You know, but again, I get it. You have so much story to tell. And you have an hour per week times 10 per season to do it with. So whatever. So Arch is pissed, super pissed. You know, he was once a man of worth. He was a tax man. He worked with money or horses, depending on your
That's exactly
what you heard.
You're gonna have 14 people correcting you on that, you know, just to let you know.
Martina is like, they've earned it. They've earned respect from James Alexander Malcolm Mackenzie Fraser, and they will have it. Okay. So, okay. I don't know. Jamie must realize this ain't the end of it, but they catch Arch, or they think is Arch. They catch somebody that they believe is Arch digging up under the house. And they're like, we knew that's where he hid the gold. He hid the gold under the house. You know, like the place you would least suspect. Like they hid it right under it, right in plain sight. So this is a little like, okay, I don't know if you remember this, Carol. It's not quite okay. I know the books are the books and the show is the show. In the books, this is where they hide it, but because it's like in plain sight, it's not really the reason. And the reason has to do with something that is kind of left out of the show. And it's too bad because it's really funny. And it is the white sow.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, so I think we've seen the white sow in the show like once or twice. The white sow is this big white pig that Jamie and Claire have had since like the beginning of time, right? And it is mean. It is big, clearly. It lives under the porch, and it's a pain in their ass. And it makes babies, I guess. I don't know if they like get the babies, like they kill the babies for bacon or whatever, but like they've just never can catch the white sow. They never can do anything with the white sow, but the white sow is really dangerous. Okay. It lives under the stairs. That is why Archbug hid the gold there, because nobody in their right mind is going to go messing around under the stairs because the white sow will kill it. That's why. So, there's another reason. Yes, it's too complex to talk about it in the show, but it's really fun. Like it's like the white sow adds a lot of humor to the show, or to the books, if you remember.
Agreed. But I was kind of bothered by like how much it's never okay to steal, but I was kind of bothered. I found it interesting that Mrs. Bug, like, hang on, keep going, because I don't think you're quite there yet.
All right. Well, they, so they see who they think is Arch digging up around the house. They're like, all right, I'll like go there. So Ian and Jamie do their like Mission Impossible, like dun 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 dun. And Ian's like, Jamie's like, go around back and I'll call to him. Like, whatever, I'll do whatever. And then Jamie's like, Archbug, you halt there, whatever, stand down, throw me your arms, whatever. And Arch shoots like great. And I don't know if they really get at this in the show, but in the book, he gets grace. He's not untouched. And Ian is like, bang, done. And it's not Arch, it's Mrs. Bug. What you got to say about that, Carol?
So what I was talking about before was just that about her, comment. I guess this was from the last scene because it was her commentary to Arch about how we've served them their meals, we've slaughtered their pig, we've cleaned their house, or blah, 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 blah. And I was kind of like, ew, like she's right. Like I kind of like for the first time, like sort of saw Jamie and Claire as like, I don't know, like she's right. She's not right that it's okay to go stealing the gold regardless. You know what I mean? It's not okay that she's, that's never going to be okay. But I don't know. I was a little creeped out at them, but again, I don't want to go too far ahead, but yeah. I'm sorry. My girl shot him. She deserved it.
Agree. I mean, yes, I agree. Like you pull out your gun and you shoot at Jamie, you're going to get he's going to fire back. Somebody's going to fire back. In this case, it was Ian, and too bad for you.
Right.
And this is sort of where I was going in terms of, I wish that the Bugs had gotten more of their due on the show, because Ian is just devastated. Ian is like guilt-ridden. Okay? There is none of this like, hi Ian, she shot your uncle. You were defending him. There's none of that. He doesn't want to hear it. He's just like, she kept our secret, Auntie, which I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was the secret of, I'm just knowing it now, of Alan Christie.
Right. In the woods. And in the woods, and it was a while ago, made evident by Claire's hair.
Do you know I read this in the book? I did.
Claire's hair is a lot longer now than it was.
Yes, her hair grows faster when she has secrets to keep. Do you know I did read this? It is in the book. It's a book. It's in Echo in the Bone that Alan Christie. They don't say how he got there. I mean, we do know that Ian shot him with his arrow, but it does say that it's buried like in the woods somewhere. Like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah, then he's like, she didn't deserve this. The shot only grazed Uncle Jamie. Bro, come on.
Okay.
Whatever. But wait, can I just say this one thing? Like where we miss out in the show, I think, that we saw in the books is just how close, just how important. And I know I said this before, but like, think about what this tells you about the relationship between Ian and Mrs. Bug. Mrs. Bug was like a parent to him. Mrs. Bug was super maternal in the books. She was like, gruff, but like everybody's mom, like stern mom or whatever. Like, and I'm going to give you an example. In the show, okay, think back to a couple of seasons ago with Lionel Brown. After the Claire kidnapping, he gets shot or something. They bring him to the surgery because Claire is going to still like treat him, even though he like pretty much was, caused all this kidnapping. And Claire I don't know. I feel like she goes to get something or whatever's happening. And Marsley kills him, basically. Remember that?
Yes.
And we're all like, Marsley, you're so badass. We love you. Well, in the books, it's Mrs. Bug who kills him. Why? Because you don't, with the Frasers, bitch. And or you get the horns. And in this case, Mrs. Bug was like, yeah, Lionel, keep wanting to say Lionel Richie. Lionel Brown, shut up. And Lionel Brown kept being like, yeah. And Mrs. Bug was like, yeah, you know what? F you. Boom. And to not see that now, like back then we were all like, Marcy, badass bitch, we love you, go, go, go. Now I'm like, had I seen Mrs. Bug do that and see just how far she's willing to go to protect the Frasers, who she loves and who she takes care of, that would help me understand Ian's feelings here a lot more. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
It was disjointed. First of all, the first thing that's disjointed is my notes where I'm going on and on about Ian, hand me that other coffee, please. And it hits me, oh my God, this was my own wee Ian that I must have been talking to while I take my notes on my phone while I'm watching. So I must have been like, Ian went to Dunkin' Donuts or something. It's kind of funny. So I'm reading this and you're talking, and I'm like, wait, what is this about a large coffee? And I'm like, it can't have gotten me wrong because it's talking about a medium coffee and caffeine. And I'm like, what the hell? So then I do have, is it me or is this way too much time being spent on Ian and his remorse? Get over it, man. She shot your uncle. She was stealing the gold. Like, I am with you 1,000%. Like, that did not come across on the show at all. The remorse came through on the show, but her relationship with Ian did not come through on the show.
Right.
So you're just kind of like watching this. And again, I've always found it funny how, like, you know, I'm forgetful. In life, I don't have the best memory and I haven't read this in years. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm forgetting what really went down, that she was close with him. And I'm reading this. I'm like, dude, she shot your uncle. I get it. You feel bad. Move on. What are you kidding me? She didn't feel bad about shooting your uncle with a gun. Like, you know. And I also had a little funny thing about how Ian's getting a little free with that bow and arrow. Anybody gets in Ian's way, he's just like, oh yeah.
So yeah, I have the same thing written down. Like, you know, she only grades, you know, the shot only grades Uncle Jamie. Dude, she shot Jamie. She shot Jamie. Like the end. Who shot
JF?
Whatever you did is justified, Ian. But yes, I do think that, like, it would have been nice to sort of see, it would be more believable, Ian's grief, to see like why he felt that way. And not just that Mrs. Bug was like, flit here, flit there, whatever. And she's laid out in the barn. I don't know. There's just more like, why did he hide the gold under our home? There's more sadness, whatever. I don't know.
I have a quick comment while you're thinking on that. I don't know who they showed Claire like holding. Was it Arch? It wasn't Arch. Like, who did Claire hold their hand? Was it Ian? It doesn't even matter, you guys. It was just like sort of like a dirty hand. And like, I just said, like, it's hard. It must be hard for Claire to be in the 18th century, like holding all of these dirty hands all over the place. And I'm like, she was a surgeon. She had to wash her hand 5 million times a day in modern day. And yet now she's got to be like touching all these dirty hands. I don't know.
I don't know why I wrote this down here. Remember that I take notes on my second viewing. I just, you know, something I'm missing. And I mean, this season is great so far. I'm missing humor. Is it just me?
No, it's like True Blood. It's like the Sookie Stackhouse novels made into True Blood. Can't laugh here.
It's just like, like the books are funny and like things happen that are funny. And I want to like laugh more than I am. Jamie and Claire are funny. Jamie's a funny guy. Like he's, you know, that's just like an aside. Like I'm much sadness.
I'm not kidding. It's the Sookie Stackhouse novels made into True Blood, just not like quirky and funny. Like this, there were some really great moments. Claire's funny. And I'm sorry, but I think we relate to her a lot because some families use humor a lot more than others.
Yeah.
Even in the worst of times, it gets us through. Right. And that's kind of how Claire is, and that's how the books are. But
I don't know. And I mean, again, the White Sow, like add, that's where I sort of put this idea of the White Sow is like adding a lot of humor to things, and it's just like whatever. Okay,
it's very intense.
Okay, so it's funeral time. Lizzie and who called it? Mrs. Bug's funeral. There we go.
And can I interrupt you for a second? Well, I came away from the books feeling like Mrs. Bug was bad.
I mean, the Bugs were both in cahoots on, you know, I mean, they weren't really stealing from Jamie, but they were stealing.
Yeah,
they were stealing the French gold, and they were hiding it on Jamie's property. But at the same time, they were taking care of Jamie, and they were, you know, I mean,
and I did not. I did not think about it like that in the book.
Archbug was there when Jamie brought, you know, gathered his men to go rescue Claire. Archbug was front and center. Archbug was like kicking ass and taking names. Right.
But they were holding a bit of a grudge.
Bug, I mean, again, she doesn't do it in the show, but in the book, she kills the head guy. You know, they are there for them, but at the same time, they're there for themselves as well. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really remember in the books if they're painted as, I think, more unsympathetic in the show than they are in the books, maybe a little bit. You know, as we see, Arch is kind of a little unhinged in, you know, and I think that that's true in the books as well, because of his grief, because of what's happened, whatever. But I don't know that until this point in the books, they were bad by any means.
I don't know if the word is bad. I mean, obs, but I don't know. I just didn't. I have a different view of them than I do now. I got to go back and like read through the books or something, because something's not sitting right with me. I came away from the books like, oh, those bugs. And with this, it's like, the poor bugs. They had no choice. They, you know, they took the wrong road. I don't know.
I mean, they sort of did, but, you know, again, you saw the good and the bad of the bugs in the books. I think you saw much more of the bad. Like, the bugs really were not part of anything, and you're just seeing the negative side of the bugs, and you're not seeing the positive side, which is why, again.
But I'm making the opposite point.
I thought you said that the bugs are bad.
No, you're right. I did. Well, it's just confusing. I don't know that I'm seeing that much more of the positive side of them here. I'm just not seeing them being painted super negative.
That's what I'm saying, because up to this point, we haven't seen the bugs at all. So we don't see the relationship that they have with the family, which is the positive part.
And you are. And that gold in your hand is.
All right, let's move on here. So we're at the funeral. So Lizzie is front and center, but no twins, because I guess it was just too hard to like CGI. Sorry, you know, going through the budget, CGI, line for CGI is just not there at this moment. Yeah. So
Kezzy, you can go home for the night. Call you tomorrow.
Yeah, twins, we're not going to use you in this scene just because, you know, no, sorry. So they have this cute discussion about the guardian of the graveyard. I was a little like, wouldn't Lizzie know who the guardian of the graveyard was? Like, didn't they all know it was Malva? Or because Lizzie's all like, who's the guardian? Like before,
I know, right? Like, Lizzie, are you that? But I really loved. Did you see any like little bit of maybe foreshadowing in this whole thing, where he said even the dead need defending? Who better to do that than a ghost? And I just was like, oh, Jamie. Okay. So, you know, I thought that was a little foreshadowing of the ghost, you know, whatever's going to happen with the ghost that we saw, you guys. I'm talking about the one from Outlander that, you know, when Claire and
not the ghost, not ghost like Patrick Swayze ghost from Ghost.
No, like that Claire saw
because that's the show we're talking about.
in the first 50 pages of Outlander, where Frank was having brandy in the veranda.
So I did notice another very cute thing was that when Lizzie was like, well, now Malva's not the guardian of the graveyard anymore, and she can go to home to heaven. I thought that was super cute. Like she can go home to heaven now. So Archbug shows up.
I don't know that Malva's heading to heaven, but whatever.
Maybe Malva's not so bad. She's just drawn that way. As they say. Okay, so Archbug shows up. And he asks Claire to sing. So I guess she has a lovely voice. So Claire chooses Ave Maria, which I looked up. It's a weird choice for a funeral, first of all. You sing that at like weddings and May processions. Funerals, not so much. Funerals, we're good Catholic girls here, so we know it's Be Not Afraid. What else would you sing?
On Eagle's Wings.
On Eagle's Wings. Thank you.
I am the bread of life. Yes.
Ave Maria, yeah. More for like, the part
the May procession.
Right after the May procession, and then right after, like when you get communion, when they're like cleaning up the stuff after the communion, and you have to like walk there with your new husband over to Mary and like.
Oh God, I hated that. I was so on display.
I did it too. So Archbug like looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. His hair is down, which I read in the books is a sign of mourning. He has his hair down as a sign of mourning.
Yeah.
So Jamie recites the poem "Death Be Not Proud." Wouldn't Regina Bug be buried with like a good Robbie Burns poem or something? And a good, Jamie's wearing his kilt, to his credit, whatever. It just felt like, wouldn't this be a Scott funeral?
Yeah, says the girl who scoured the Bible along with me to find some Pulp Fiction.
I know we've told the story. It's such a great story. And we were just so like, crazy grief makes you crazy, y'all.
Mop Tom was a big fan of Pulp Fiction, and Tracey and I thought it would be a little funny and fitting if no one knew if we injected a little bit of Pulp Fiction into
we were like, well, no, you have to know, like in Pulp Fiction, like Jules, Samuel L. Jackson, before he's a hitman, before he kills people, he recites that like some scripture, and it's like, Ezekiel, blah, 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 blah. And it's basically like,
and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
And so like Tom passed away, like the next, then like the next couple of days you have to like pick the readings and shit like that. And we were like, oh my God. Swear to God.
And we had to be respectful because he couldn't be over the top. Yeah,
we're like, oh my God, we got to do it. We got to find that reading. And then we're like, it's pretty violent, but maybe the real reading isn't so bad.
It was worse.
It was that bad.
It was worse. We were like, yeah, we can't do that. Like, I don't remember what we did, but it was a little.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like, love is patient, love is kind, whatever.
Oh no, Tom hated that. Tom hated. I was like, there will be no love being patient and kind.
I'm sure we were like, really? We can't do Jules. We can't do, and I will strike you down with great vengeance. All right, whatever.
I think we did like we skipped over the super violent stuff, and then we used something from it, like. I think he would have thought it was fun.
My God. You guys want to be in our family, right? Because this is it. This is the shit that goes down like at the most traumatic point of our lives.
Yeah. This is why we missed the humor in Outlander.
All right. So yeah, I was kind of looking for a little more of a Scottish funeral, but okay, whatever. So then Ian, then it's just Arch and Ian and Claire and Jamie. And Ian is basically like, I did you disservice. So your life is in my hands now. I will give my life in exchange for your wife's. a life for a life. And Archbog is like, yeah, no, I don't think so. It's too easy. Like, instead, I'm going to take your hound. And he is like, Rollo? No, hell no. Oh, what are you ever going to do? Proving that, like, yeah, like Ian, you know, if he were to kill Ian, it's more hurtful to Ian to take out somebody that is important to Ian. And so that's when he's like, it's too easy. And I'll be back when you have something worth taking.
When you have something worth taking, you'll see me again.
And he walks away.
And it was creepy. Archbug looked like a creepy man.
I wrote down Hugh Ross. Slow golf clap for you, bro.
Yeah.
Really good. I mean, I wrote like Arch, Hugh Ross, so good. Who knew? Because before this, he had like 2 lines.
Exactly. And I have written down, this was the poem, I guess. Death, thou shalt die.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. Gotta move this on. So Jamie and Claire take a walk. They look at the spot. They're like, yeah, the new big house could go here. They talk about like, you know, where Jamie wants to be buried. He's like, whatever. There's not going to be none to be left to bury because, you know, I'm going to be like just dragged on the ground somewhere. Whatever.
Right.
So Jamie basically says, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to go back to Scotland because I have a promise that I made to Jenny that I need to keep, which is that I'm going to see her little boy safe at home, basically. And he also doesn't want to face William in a war. Now, I don't know if they're going to end up doing this. Doesn't look like they are. But in the books, Jamie wants to go back to bring Ian back to Jenny. But he also wants to go get his printing press. That's one of the big reasons that they're going back. They're going back. And he gives the printing press a name. I don't remember what it is. I don't know, Betsy or...
I was going to say Bessie. That's so funny. That's so funny because I don't remember. I was just literally the first thing that came to my mind was Bessie.
They're going to go back and get Betsy and bring her over, whatever. So then we get where Claire's asleep. She wakes up and Jamie is praying. And this is a very I'm just doing this out of 2 because of Jamie's prayed twice now. I'm like, this is a very holy. Jamie's very holy this season. We're exploring Jamie's faith side, which I find very interesting because I think I said it last week. You don't often see James Alexander Malcolm Mackenzie Fraser, warrior at large, praying, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It was amazing. But yeah.
What?
I just it was a little bit like, I don't even know what the word would be. I don't know.
Okay, I know you're fading, so let's blitz through this. He has a new dream. Jamie dreams that Bree and Roger and the kids are in house, and somebody's there. Somebody owns it. Claire's like, did she tell you her name? Yeah, Fiona. And Claire's like, huh?
I was loving that because I was on the edge of my seat, like, yes, say Fiona. But wait, because I'm sorry, because I got to go back a second. Claire asked Jamie where he wants to be buried.
Oh, yeah, I sort of skipped over that. But that's what I said. No, Jamie's like, there won't be anything left of me to bury.
I should be lucky to be buried at all, Sassenach. Much more likely I'll be drowned, burned, or left to die on some battlefield. Dinnafash. But then he won't talk about what to do with her. I found that very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's, and he basically describes a telephone. Like, he's like, there's this weird box thing that looks like a, little thing on the ends and a pig's tail and someone's talking in it. And Claire's like, it's a telephone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how Jamie is able to do this. But it's interesting. And I have to wonder if it has to do with, I feel like I maybe said this last week with Jemmy and Mandy and their kind of telekinesis or or whatever you call it, where they can sort of understand what they're thinking.
Yes.
If he's tied in that way.
Yes. But it's, this whole thing is done for the reader so that, we know that he can see, somewhat of, it makes them feel better because they know, okay, the minute Claire hears Fiona, she's like, all right, this is good. They're where they need to be. Everything is fine. I don't know how we got out of order here because I have the praying at that point. But the fact that Jamie says, let me be enough was just, for me, I was just, I could not stop thinking about him saying, let me be enough. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great moment. It's a great moment. That is when he's praying. I mean, that's what he prays.
Right.
He's like, dear God, let me be enough. And I mean, like, again, it's just what you said earlier, like, she's lost Bree, she's lost Roger, she's lost the kids, she's lost Malva.
Right.
She's lost Ferguson, Marsley, and all those kids.
Right.
It's it's kind of like they're not empty nesters now.
And like, but kind of like funky that like she wakes up and she's listening to him. I don't know. Like, I don't want to call it creepy because it wasn't. It was just a little uncomfortable. I felt like.
It's uncomfortable not because it's creepy, but because she's not meant to hear it.
Right. Right.
It's kind of like you don't want to hear you don't want to hear over somebody else. Somebody else's prayers are sacred.
Right. Kind of like my kids aren't meant to hear when I talk to myself all day long, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were down here.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna do this because we still have quite a little bit to go. So just interject whenever. So Jamie's now, so we see Jamie making some musket balls he's melted down some of the French gold. He's making musket balls. And it starts, I felt like it took me two watches to understand this, that like, and maybe I'm just like inferring this, but I think this is what you're meant to infer, that he puts that musket ball in the box with the letters, like it's worth something. Like that's gold that they can use, except they can't really use it in 2023 because that much gold now is worth about, $15. But maybe back in 1978, it was worth. There was a point, gold goes like this, and like at times, gold is worth a whole lot of money. But he's making these musket balls and then covering them up so you won't know that they're actually gold.
Right.
That's where he slips a couple, I guess, in the box with the letters.
Right. So how will they know?
Well, that's true. They're gonna have to figure that out. Ian's worried about going home. He's worried about what Jenny's gonna think of him. Whatever.
And his tattoos.
And his tattoos, yes. So Jamie and Claire go to hide the rest of the French gold to the Spaniards' cave. This is a cave that Jamie and Jemmy, and again, Jemmy is like 3 at this point, but Jamie's taking him all over the place to the Spanish, to the cave with the dead Spaniard. Right. No, Socksnock. He was not frightened at all.
Right. Except for they're walking through the woods heading for the cave. And I'm thinking, what is possessing you to think you aren't being watched right now? Like, this is the same feeling I had when Mrs. Bug showed up and Claire and Ian were burying Alan Christie. I was like, what makes you think someone is watching you? Everyone's always watching in the woods.
I mean, I guess. I was more like, okay, yeah, Jamie's all like, oh, Jemmy wasn't scared at all. And then you tell Bree the story, and Bree's like, oh, that's why I was having nightmares for like 30 days straight. Thanks, Da. Like, you're a peach. I'm going to send him over to the big house tonight to sleep. And then you could like be, witness to the screaming. So it's the Spaniards' cave. So they hide they help, but your takeaway there, remember it, they have hidden the French gold in the cave with the Spaniard, and Jemmy knows where it is. All 3 years old of him. Okay. All right. So then we get a montage of all the letters to Bree. They're getting ready for the trip. He writes about the French gold. That's the Italian property. You know, again, Jemmy will know the place. He'll know the way. Da, 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 da. And Roger figures out about the gold. And he doesn't think Jem knows about the French gold, just the Spaniard. And then they're not going to read all the letters in one sitting, you know, because God forbid it's that emotional for them that, you know, if they read them all in one sitting, they'll just like forget it. They're just going to cry their eyes out. You know, they're going to. I'm sorry, I'm a little bitter. So they're going back to Boston. So they're going to bring all the letters back to Boston again. Okay.
I'm still back on the gold being shoved in a cave somewhere where anybody could be watching them. And I said, I think he should have dug a hole and buried it in the ground like Andy Dufresne.
I don't know. I'm not big on, I'm not as, you know, everybody's watching in the woods. I mean, it's not like there's cameras around.
Well, hopefully it's like the Goonies and One-Eyed Willie is going to watch over it for them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't quite as frightened about that, but, you know, whatever.
I can't believe you missed my Andy Dufresne comment.
I didn't miss it, but it's just like, yes, Andy Dufresne. I don't have a microphone now to put it in. So whatever. Okay, where were we? Oh, so yeah, we see like a lot of little moments here. Jamie makes
Claire.
a new skin do for Claire, and you must always blood a blade. I never heard that expression before. You have to blood a blade.
Yeah, but didn't you think this was a little odd? He gave her a dirk, like he gave her something way back in Outlander. Like I just thought it was a little odd that they've made it this long and she didn't know any of the stuff he was telling her.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like, hasn't he had to blood a blade like before?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times we were in a new church for a wedding or like just for whatever reason, and Tom would be like, "Don't forget your 3 wishes," because I had to hear it every time we went to a new church. So I'm sitting here watching this, like she doesn't know all of this by now.
That's true. Yeah,
and she was very interested. She was like, "Oh, and what?" And I'm like, "Girl, you have walked around the Highlands of Scotland with this stuff in your sock, for God's sake."
I do like the idea, though, of blooding a blade, but it really is just it's really an opportunity to be like blood of my blood and bone of my bone, and like, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bree's like, Roger, I want to take you somewhere, and they take a drive.
Oh, and the shot, the mid-hope, the long panned out shot. Oh, Lord.
Did you cry?
Oh, Jesus, did I cry? What are you kidding me? This whole episode I cried.
No,
in a good way.
But
in a good way.
But when they, you know, they have the little car, and they pull up to Lallybroch, to Midhope Castle. Did you cry?
Of course I cried. I cried when they were way back here and you could see Midhope in the distance. I have pictures of Tom and the kids like that from 2018. I got pictures of us like that last April. I mean, holy cow. I cried. Yes.
I'm tearing up right now. You guys, God damn. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but like, you don't even know. Like, we were there a year ago. We were there about a week before they shut the place down because they were going to film these scenes.
This scene, I have that. We were here like 5 seconds before they started filming this.
Yes.
I mean, that absolutely killed me. And I cried when we were there too.
Yes. You guys. I mean, I think we told you this a little bit, like when we were, you know, when we did our live show from Scotland or whatever. Like, going to Lallybroch is like nothing you'll ever know. It's Midhope Castle, obviously, but like going there it's because it's exactly that. It's not like magical. It's like some like, is it this or whatever? No, right. No, and you only like it's only the outside. I mean, the inside is set somewhere. So, right. But it's only the outside, but they've showed enough of the outside that you get that's where it is.
Right.
And it is just, it's stunning. And it's one of these things where like you walk, and then there it is.
And there it is. Yeah. Through the, down the pathway. Yeah. And I'm not sure, but I think I may have seen Duchess in one of the shots. and I also thought we should have broken in. We should have all tried to break in like Roger. Kidding.
Yeah, you guys.
For anyone
we did
who's
not-
watching that, I'm being a wise ass. Don't ever try to break into Lallybroch.
So Carol, were you like, wait, where's my pictures so I can compare? Because I totally was. And I like pulled out my pictures. So there's like ivy on the pictures of on the show's house. That's not on the real house. That's like all fake ivy. But like literally like there's sort of a long shot of Roger and Bree sitting on the stairs, and me, Carol, and third sister Jill sat on the stairs, and someone took our picture. And like I cried. Like I was just like, God, oh my God. Like that was us a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It is just all the feels. Just crazy. So okay. So yes, Roger, it's all boarded up. Roger's like, give me okay, I'm gonna be on manly. I'm gonna kick it in. And he kicks it in, and it's not in good shape inside. So okay. So then we're back in the future, or back in the past. And Jamie and Claire they're watching. This is the scene where one of the twins has the baby, and they're over there because they have COVID, clearly.
And he's a brawly lad, just like his parents.
Right. And Lizzie is with the other twin, and they're talking to Jamie and Claire, and they're basically saying goodbye. And it's just so funny that they're like, they can't, like, they have to be separated. And like Jamie and Claire have to like say goodbye to them first, and then like go all the way out over here and then say goodbye to them, whatever.
But he's a Broadway lad, just like his parents. And then Jamie goes,
yes,
it was
more
brilliant.
Funny, please.
There's the comedy you're looking for, because I laughed so hard.
Yes, more funny. Okay, then we're back at Lollybroch, and this is where they sit on the stairs, and I just is like, oh my God, hand to heart, like just kill me now. It's so good. And a car
I have me crying my eyes out, literally written down, just like you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, you guys, and again, like I can't even stress enough. Like the next week, this is being filmed. I know. I'm like looking, like there was a dumpster over on the side in the show, and I'm like, was that dumpster there? Because I feel like it was blocked off. Like we couldn't go very much farther back there. I feel like it was blocked off or something.
Right.
But it wasn't a dumpster. It was something else.
I get it confused because I was there with Tom and the kids in 2018, and it was very quiet. Nobody was around. But honest to God, when we were there last year in April, they were like, don't touch anything. And we were told how extremely lucky we were to have gotten to see it, because it was like we came through and they shut it down, and like that was it, because they were going to be filming there like the next day. It was crazy.
Yep. All right, so we're back there. Carol, Jill, and Tracey, Bree and Roger are sitting on steps chatting. A car pulls up. It's the realtor. And guess what, you guys? Lollybroch is for sale. Woo! It's being auctioned off. And Bree and Roger are like, and so you can all guess what's going to happen.
If you're Bree, aren't you like, forget like that some realtor comes up and says it's for sale. Aren't you like banging down every door you can find to find out who owns it because she wants to buy it? When you want to buy it and be like, I will buy this place. Like, oh my God.
Well, I don't think, see, this is why, like, and I really need to go back and read it again in the book. I don't remember, and I just read it in the book too, like, but I sort of skimmed over it. Like, they kind of come across it for sale. I don't know that it's
I don't remember.
It's a happy accident in the book. Because they are in the US, and they are, as far as I remember, planning on staying in the US. And then it's for sale, and it's kind of like, okay, this is our destiny. Yeah.
It's like you finding out that the Paoli house was going up for auction.
What, our Paoli? Where we grew up?
We would be trying to buy it. Kidding. Continue.
Yeah, that's all right. So, it's some other family.
It didn't have the history that Lallybroch had.
No. All right, so Claire and Jamie and Ian are on their way. Claire hears a sound, and it's Adso. It's the wee cheaty. The wee cheaty. And she like, I feel like this sort of happens in the book too, but I don't think she like, I don't remember. She in the show, she's like, okay, Adso, there's like lots of squirrels to eat in the woods, and whatever. I couldn't quite tell, like, was she just sending him back into the wild? Because that's kind of dangerous.
Well, she couldn't. What was she gonna do? She's not like on her way to the airport where she can make a phone call and be like, "Hey, come get my cat."
Yes. She doesn't really have a choice, but like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that. I don't know if I think Adso was so little when Jamie found him.
Yeah,
that he is sort of domesticated now. Maybe a cat in 1776 or whatever is never going to be fully domesticated, because they're not going to live in the house the way like cats today in our world are inside cats, unless they live on a farm and then they're barn cats.
No. People's cats aren't just unless they live on a farm. I have plenty of friends who have cats that let them go all day. They come and go.
Oh boy, don't get me started on.
There you go. There you go.
So,
but your cats are sort of like wild. I mean, I have friends who have cats. They come and go as they please. But they're in the house at night a lot of the time because they come back. They want to eat, whatever.
I am not a super huge proponent, for a lot of very valid reasons that I'm not going to get into here. We've had a lot of issues with feral cats in my neighborhood, and I am not a proponent of outdoor cats in a sort of urban town environment. Okay, yeah, you have your like one neighborhood cat that like eats all the mice and whatever, but like we've had problems with feral cats where dozens.
And does anybody own those cats?
No.
Yeah, see, I'm talking about cats who live with people, but they're allowed to roam a little bit around the neighborhood. They might not go farther than that house next door, and then they come back.
Yeah, but like if you're trying to solve the problem of the feral cats on your property, and you mistakenly get one of these cats, whatever. I'm not gonna. The story. I'm not gonna go into it.
Two different situations.
But And to your point, like, what could Claire do?
Nothing.
And
it was the 18th century. She wasn't going to do anything. And
yes,
she couldn't take the cat with her. She couldn't go back. She was leaving the cat.
I do feel like Adso got a better ending though in the books. I don't know. So Adso sent along, and the very end of this is really lovely. It's a really quick flashback to when they first claimed Fraser's Ridge. And they're doing, between Sam and Kat and the writing staff and the makeup staff and whatever, they're doing such a good, you can just tell, like, they look so much older now than they did. Do you know
they
what I mean?
They are so much older now.
I mean, they are, but they're not really.
I think I looked. Did it start in 2014?
Yes, but the flashback is from season 4. And this is season 7. Right. So it's like 4 years maybe. But they look like 10 years, which is what they're probably, which is what it's been in the actual trajectory of the show.
Right.
They just look all like full of promise and like so innocent, even though they're older. Like hardship has not really, I mean, yes, hardship has happened, obviously, but like all of this hardship over the last couple of seasons has not happened yet. And they're just so filled with promise and life and excitement and whatever. It was like very, very touching, very moving, I thought. And that's where Clara says, Jamie, you will always be enough. They make out, and then Ian's like, yo, get a room. Time's wasted. Let's go. And that's
we have to catch a shit, uncle.
And that's it. that's it. That's the show. And
That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote.
Like
It's all
you said at the
DG wrote.
beginning, It's all GG. It is. I mean, a lot of it, you know, book fans are loving it because it is so much of this straight from the book. I feel like most of what we saw tonight was straight from the book. It just was like maybe not in the right order, or maybe like little bits and pieces are changed a little bit. Whatever.
Right. I
Really,
thought it was so bookrific. Oh my God, I loved it.
I feel like I probably liked last week's better. I felt like it was more, I connected more to last week. And like I said, I felt like this week was sort of a bridge episode where it was like wrap up these storylines and get ourselves to the next storylines. But you know, there's a lot of small detail-y things that were really nice.
I thought this week's episode was very spiritual, and I really could relate to a lot of that.
I can get that. I can be behind that. All right, and we are officially 3/8 of the way through the season. Yeah, we have 5 more to go. We're whipping through these, you guys. Whipping through. So that's it. So let us know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments. I think we're both thumbs up on this episode and on this season. It's really good. So let us know what you thought. And that's it. Any last words, Carol?
Tracey, you will always be enough. And I hope there will always be enough.
That's so cute. Oh, Carol, right back at ya.
Oh my God, you guys, can you tell it's only episode 3 of the season? Tracey, by episode like 7, are we going to be like, I don't know?
All right, you guys. So you know the drill. We've said it before. Please like us and subscribe on
Thank
YouTube.
You. And thank you for all the subscribing.
You guys, I'm dreaming big here. We're getting to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube before this season is up. Let's do it, you guys.
What do we have to do to get to 10?
Let's make the challenge. And can we get to 1,000 TikTok subscribers?
We have to make some TikToks.
I make TikToks. I just made one last night. So shut up.
You did? Is it up?
did. I didn't make it. Like I just made like an excerpt from last week.
I have an idea, you guys. I'm going to discuss it with Tracey tonight, and we'll see if it's gonna happen.
Okay. All right. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on TikTok, and we are everywhere else. MyOutlanderPurgatory.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We are all in on all of it. You know, your girls are everywhere. Your girls, you know, wherever you look, all over. So that's it. Any last words, Carol?
I just gave you my last words. They were that you will always be enough.
So great. So great. All right, you guys.
All right, guys.
It's been a pleasure. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We will see you next week. Have a great one.